Hi, I'm Amanda Jane Woodall and welcome to my fashion school. So today I'm going to take you on a design journey with me. So let's grab our equipment, let's print off a mannequin and let's get designing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my colours and I'm going to start having a look on my mood board at things that I think that I can start using for my design. So the most obvious one is going to be to look at some of these silhouettes. And what I've learned from these silhouettes is that our garment is going to be something with some kind of ruffle or flare, because we have a lot of examples of this in the mood board. So we're going to start working on building these shapes. And I know most people are going to be concerned about not being good drawers. But what I'll say to you is, these are your designs. They're for you. And as long as you understand them, it doesn't actually matter the level of technical skill that you have in drawing. You've got plenty of time to improve your skills. The main thing is to be able to get your ideas down. So some quite obvious ones would be to do this kind of a skirt. So I'm going to go for that first, just to show you how simple we can achieve these shapes. And all I'm doing is I'm just literally scanning it with my eyes and then just copying what I can see. So it doesn't matter if it's not accurate, because I'm just copying what I'm looking at to the best of my ability. And I don't actually want it to be a direct copy, do I? Because I'm trying to make my own original design, but I'm going to do a quite basic one because that's going to show you the ideas behind it. And then in future videos we can go a bit further into how you make things a bit more unique to your own style. So we've got this basic skirt shape. So now I'm going to look for what I might like for a top to go with it. So kind of a general thing in fashion that we're looking to do is balance things. So we might be looking now to balance this kind of flared skirt with a bit more of a fitted top. That's not something that you always have to do, but to know a few of these rules of balance when you're starting is useful. So what I'm going to do, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to go for this funnel neck jumper. So I'm going to hear out. So this is what I know that I want this neckline. That's important to my design right now. But I'm not going to put the sleeves on it. I'm going to keep it as a fitted top. I could even incorporate it into the skirt and have it as a dress, but the important thing that we've took is the neckline. We know we want this neckline. Okay. Now what you'd need to be thinking about is, this is a nice shape, but how are we going to get into the garment? Because if I sewed a skirt like this and it was just sewed all the way around, and a top like this, I wouldn't be able to get it on, because our bodies are very awkward things to actually design for because they're different shapes. What I like to do is make my waistband elasticated. That's an easy way. So I know if I've got an elasticated waistband on my garments, I'm going to be able to get them on and off. And I don't have to put fastenings in because this is just a beginner sketch. So this would be elasticated, so we'd be able to just pull this over our thighs and bum, and that would be fine. So with the top, one thing we could do is we could specify that this would be a stretch fabric. So then we would know this is a stretch fabric, so therefore it will go over the body with ease. But if we wanted to make it a fitted top, we need to put a fastening in there. So you could put the fastening on the back if you wanted to not have it visible from the front.
Now I'm going to crop this, and you might think, well, where did that come from? Because I don't actually want it connected to my skirt because I've got an elastic waistband. So you can see I'm starting to think about these decisions that I'm making. And also I think that's quite a nice silhouette with a little gap here. But you've got to think about who you're designing for, because if this was for somebody who wasn't confident showing off their body, you perhaps want to add a detail here. Let's just do that so that I can show you. That would be more flattering. Not that I think that any body shape can't wear anything, because I honestly do. It's about how you style things. But there, so you could add this kind of modesty panel. So if we wanted to lengthen this skirt to make it a more modest outfit, we can then do that. And we can take inspiration from a different part of the board. So I'm going to use this very roughly lettuce texture for the bottom. And we could find that in a trimming, or we could make that ourselves. Or we could look for a fabric with this same kind of pattern, and again just scanning this texture, not worrying about it aesthetically, just getting the ideas down. You need to think about what season you are designing for. So from this mood board, I think this is quite an obvious one where you would think this would probably be a spring summer design. It's because of the colours. These are the ones we associate with spring summer, some of the silhouettes, some of the themes. That's the general feeling I get from this mood board. So now I'm going to use the back mannequin to kind of assess what the back might look like. And kind of a general rule is, whatever you do to the front, you're going to do to the back. So we've cropped it, so the back's going to be cropped. This is flared at the front, so it's going to be flared at the back. Unless you specifically design your back differently, which I might do just to show you. So we know we've got this funnel front. So let's have a funnel back. Okay. And we've got no sleeves. So we have no sleeves. And we have this cropped silhouette. So there would be like the basic back of our jacket. But maybe we want to add some detail to the back. So then I could think about putting maybe a seam down here. Some seam detail. And all that would mean is that instead of this back being one piece, we're going to split it into three to give it this styled effect. You could also do a complete cutout. You could have a cutout in the back. You could have a cutout in the back. Have that exposed if you wanted to do that. Or you could do some kind of a detail here. And the same for the skirt. So I know I've got my elastic waistband, so that's going to go all the way around, I know that. And I know I've got my flared skirt, so I'm just looking at what I've drawn before. I'm just trying to get the same shape. If you want things to be exactly right, eventually you learn to do them digitally, and then it takes a lot of the symmetry problems you have in fashion out of it. But for now, it doesn't matter if these aren't exactly the same, because I know in my mind that I want them the same. Now I can start to think about what kind of fabrics might be achievable for this design. So if we've got kind of a flared and floaty texture, perhaps we want some kind of chiffon. I'm just writing some notes. Perhaps we want to look at some silk for this top bit, because these are fabrics that hang nicely, and I know that because of experience. When you don't have the experience with fabrics, you can't expect that you're going to make good decisions at the start, because I've made many mistakes by choosing fabrics that I can't sew, that don't look right in the design, and that is part of the design process, so don't beat yourself up about not having this knowledge. Contemplated some of these designs, some of the things I might like within it, and now I'm going to make it firm. So I'm going to say, yes, this is exactly what I want. Let's go for it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to start blocking it in with a biro, because when it's in with a biro, you know, it's more definite, isn't it? So we can still change it. You can change it all the way up to making it. Sometimes you might get to the actual make and you have a completely different idea, but that is how we're growing and learning through the process. That's part of fashion design. I know that I want this waistband to be elasticated, so I'm just, and these little squiggles, they're not technical drawing, but this is how I decide that I will represent that. So you can have a look online and see, you know, people use dashes, dots, scribbles, all sorts of different patterns to just give themselves new information. Right, now I'm going to give my lady a little face, and I just have my signature faces, and this is where people will really, really freak out. People are always scared to do the faces, and you don't have to do a face. But I would always push yourself to make this drawing look like a person. You're designing for people, and the more you learn about personality, characters, and aesthetics, different styles, the more that you indulge in these things, the more you're going to learn. So be brave, put a face on it. It doesn't matter if it's the most ugly looking face in the whole world. Just go for it. Right, so we always know that the eyes are halfway between the face. So if you don't know that, a lot of people don't when they start art or drawing, because our perception of things is quite different to actually what our proportions are of the body. So just 2 eyes, look how basic that is. Couldn't get more basic. See, it's not perfect, I don't care. She can have character, she doesn't have to be a perfect lady. Okay, and now we're going to go for hair. So what I could do is just copy the hair from a mood board, or I could go and get further examples. So let's just, I'm going to put her a fringe in. There you go, love. Oh, she's got no ears, so should we give her some ears? See, this is the kind of thing you start, as you're going through, you start to think, why does she look odd? Why does she not look quite human? Start to put some of these details on. That's going to change that. start thinking about pattern and colour, and we can get a lot of inspiration from our board because we have these amazing patterns. We've got kind of a cheetah print, we've got these fruit and vegetables that all have different textures and patterns. We have this nice kind of floral embroidered pattern. We can really, you know, we have a lot of different ideas. So let's get some of these on. So I'm going to start putting this cheetah pattern on. I don't know, I'm no expert on cheetah pattern, just drawing roughly what I see, which is kind of squirrels. As you can see, very easily from just a very few kind of cues, we've started to develop a design. And you don't have to necessarily even make every design that you draw. We're just practicing our skills. So I have my colour palette that I've pre-selected, so I can't go wrong with it because I know it works because it works on the mood board. So I'm going to start adding some colour, and what you can do, I'm not doing it in this instance because this is just obviously an example, but what you can do is you can photocopy it before you add colour, and that is going to mean that if you don't like it, you can just start a new one. And some people, they don't fully colour in all their designs. I think I tend to. But some people like to just have a mark here and there of what their colour might be. And that's also a nice way to do it. If you don't find, I find colouring in very enjoyable. I'm very childish in that way. I like colouring in. I like cutting and sticking. I really find it very therapeutic. But if you don't waste your time doing the bits you don't like. Excel at the bits that you do like. Has changed. It's changed the feel of this already, hasn't it? That adding that very dark element, because it was feeling very light before that, and now it really has got some edge. Now I think this girl is naughty. I think this girl is a bit wild now that we've got the dark influence in it, and it's amazing how like just a colour can really start to influence what we think about the person that's gonna maybe buy this outfit. And it's important to know who your customer is, because when you're marketing, if you are aiming everything at the wrong audience, you might have the most beautiful design in the world, but because your audience isn't seeing it, you're not going to sell it. So you've got to really start knowing who your lady is, or gentleman, if that's what you're doing. Or you might do a kind of a unisex collection, which actually I would advise, because I think it's quite well known in the industry that that is the direction that most people want to go in, where we don't have separate sections for men and women's fashion, so everybody can just enjoy it on an equal level. But if you look at I think especially London Fashion Week, I think most of their collections are now unisex, which is a real, obviously, development, isn't it?
So we've come to the end of this video, but I will see you again in my follow-up videos where I show you how to dress like a British girl, and also let's turn these designs into garments.